Hello! I just wanted to go through my 2022 reads, some of the highs and lows, my favorite moments, and some of the stinkers. I read 43 books last year. 13 were 5-star, 4 of which were rereads, so no surprise that I loved them. 6 were 1 or 2-star, and no DNFs. Are we ready to talk about books? Now, I might be an easy girl to please, but there was so much I loved reading last year. I'm going to start with my favorite covers. The first being I Kissed Shara Wheeler. I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous. The pinks, the purples, I love it. This pink letter is how we're introduced and is what pulls the story along. It's just good fun. My other favorite was So This Is Ever After. This is such a sweet and dreamy book, and the cover perfectly captures this. My favorite couple was from Love and Other Disasters. It's about the budding romance between Dahlia, a bi-disaster, and London, an NB who is still defining their trans identity to themselves and the world. They are both such lovable and absolute messes, and this all takes place on a cooking competition reality show. What's not to love? Okay, for my favorite villain, I have Margaret from The Psychology of Time Travel. She is the ruthless and cunning leader of a time traveler's guild, and she will stop at nothing to maintain and impose her control. Let's just see what her best friends and colleagues have to say about her. Maybe being in charge of time and space would give anyone a god complex, but she's such a mean god. Okay, for my favorite world or setting or just world building, all the above would have to go to Martha Wells' The Tales of the Raksura series. She just knows how to do world building. There's so much detail here, but it's never overwhelming. It's always delivered in nice little bite-sized chunks. This side collection of stories is one of my favorites in expanded universe type materials, where there isn't a whole lot of anything going on. It's just a wonderful, sweet little look at different characters' lives and little explanations. It's just so much fun. For my favorite gimmick, shtick, or just unique idea, it would be This Is How You Lose the Time More was written by 2 different authors, each penning one side of a pen pal correspondence that turns into love. Our 2 main characters are on opposing sides of a seemingly endless war through time and space. And while it doesn't get into the details of that war, the back and forths between these 2 is so much fun to read. Another one was Written in the Stars. It has this great bit where Elle, a romance astrologer and column writer, publishes these cute lists. My holiday activity, based on being a Cancer, is binge watching holiday movies, which is spot on, by the way. My biggest surprise of the year, I think, would be It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Not that I wasn't expecting a well-done romance, but this is so much more than that. It deals with some heavy stuff, namely abuse, and it does it well, realistically, and unfortunately, relatably. For my favorite motivational, inspirational, or just biography, I'm going with Tranny by Laura Jane Grace. Seeing Laura come out professionally through that pivotal Rolling Stone article gave me a lot of courage and helped me through my own workplace transition. This year was rough for me, and I knew the workplace transition was going to be a ordeal, right? This was hugely foundational to me and was just crucial to my own transition in the workplace this year. It meant so much to read Laura's story and go through her experiences. Okay, now the stinkers, or the least favorites. For the disappointing read from an author I like, I'll go with Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. While I have liked a lot of his stuff, it's fun, light, and full of snark. The characters were meh, the story was meh. It just didn't do it for me. Okay, now for a book that would fail even as a AO3 fanfic, The Pumpkin Queen. It's slow, boring, has needless tie-ins with the movie that either aren't well done or contradict canon. This was just bad. I forgot to record this one, but my least favorite gimmick, or shtick, or just the worst sequel, was Hang the Moon, which is a follow-up to one of my favorites, Written in the Stars. The issue here is it tries to reuse the same quirkiness with horoscopes and star charts, but neither character have anything to do with astrology. Further, there's some really creepy and manipulative stuff going on here, with this boy and the girl's best friend conspiring and tricking our main girl the whole way through. This book grossed me out, to be honest. Next, Where Did Booktube and Bookstagram Let Me Down? Never Been Kissed, and Olga Dies Dreaming. I didn't know what kind of story this was supposed to be, but it had too many side stories fighting, and Never Been Kissed was getting hype, but it fell flat for me. I did like the demisexual awakening and just how stuck in his own head the main character was, but nothing else was very well done here. For books that couldn't deliver, or just did better in the first half than the second, Bonds and Brass. I absolutely adored the growing love story between our two boys, but it seemed too focused on setting up further novels and didn't know how to close this one. For world building, something that didn't quite hit was Priory of the Orange Tree. We read this for book club this year as our first book. And I don't know if you can see this, but I have a lot more annotations in the first half, or even just 2/3 of the book. Priory of the Orange Tree, as you can see from how much I annotated this, was a lot of fun to read, and I loved the world building, and just generally the first half of the book was so well done. I think it's just it didn't know what it wanted to do and needed to ratchet the stakes up to 11, and it just didn't need to be that kind of a story. I was having much more fun with the political infighting and drama between these nations than some of the world-ending events, and just ended basically before we got to any of the other nonsense. I don't know. I still really enjoyed the book, but it could have just been better. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope to do this again soon. Bye!